Hey, here we go. The Russian campaign. Granted, it's the old Avalon Hill Russian campaign, not the new GMT one, but that's fine. We're looking at turns 1 and 2 out of that long turn chart. All right, so end of turns 1 and 2. We've got some pretty hefty stuff going. The Germans have pushed across. The Soviets have managed to keep them from getting all the way into, what are we holding right here? Holding Vitebsk right there. They just cleared out this pocket on the end of the last German turn, as well as a pocket up here around Riga. So we'll see where the Germans get to on this next turn. They do have the first 2 impulses on turn 3. Right down here against Army Group South, the Soviets have managed to keep a pocket. The Germans thought they were going to have them encircled, but they managed to pull everything, all the forces they had down in the south of the Soviet Union down to punch a hole to get supply back to these guys. So the question now is, do these guys from Army Group Center keep going east, or do they try and swing down here to envelop basically this entire, almost all the Soviet combat strength that's left? The Soviets do have some guys in Moscow and some coming on from the end. But yeah, so that's where we're at. Turns 1 and 2 in the Russia campaign. This is pretty fun. It's got a very Stalingrad, the Avalon Hill Stalingrad-esque feel to it. But some more added on, a little more chrome, a few more bits. Good stuff. So stick around. Keep in mind, we're looking north, east, west, south. Turns 1 and 2 of the Russian campaign. All right, guys. Everybody. Campaign turns 3 and 4 of the Russian campaign by Avalon Hill. This is McMurray. We are covering September and October through November, December of 1941. Okay, so the big question is, how did I do compared to traditional progress on both sides? Down here in Army Group South, we've been watching pockets form and get, supply broken into and all that stuff. Finally formed a pocket, eliminated a couple Soviet stacks through lack of supply. The Soviets were pouring men and resources down in here. I think I did a pretty good job simulating the Soviet kind of gambling, trading men and space for time to tie up Army Group South and chunks of Army Group Center and the entirety of the Axis minor powers down here in what would be southern Russia, southern Ukraine, something like that. Okay. Well, I guess northern Ukraine. Anyways, up here, Army Group North and Center, right? We peeled some stuff off to help down here, thinking, oh, okay, so we've got a bunch of nothing in between Army Group North, the remaining parts of Army Group Center, and Moscow. Well, the Russians were able to bring a whole lot of stuff, some pretty big stacks in here, to fortify Moscow. So we're going to have to see how that works. We can still see the Kremlin, but I don't know if we're going to reach it. I don't think we're going to reach it, no, because we are officially into 1942 now. So we're going to have to see how, that 1942 offensive happens. The issue is the Soviets have some big stuff coming in as we come up. So here we go. We'll have to see how this works out. Here's where the table looks now. We got a Soviet partisan unit over here. I think we need to... I actually missed putting 2 Soviet partisan movements down at the end of this last turn. So we'll do that, and then we'll see how this works. There's an SS unit up here about to take Archangel, but that's not really that much of an accomplishment, actually. So there we go. That's turns 3 and 4. Well, guys, it's the end of game. So my goal was to complete the original timetable, as you guys know, of Operation Barbarossa and end the game early. As you guys saw at the end of turn 4 of the last video, by the end of December 1941, I was not at the gates of Moscow. I was a couple of hexes back. First impulse on this next turn, turn 5 for the Germans, I decided to just go for broke, and I was live on here with Wardrobe and managed to win a 1-to-1 combat. We had the really strong Soviet defensive perimeter set up here, right? So I won a 1-to-1 combat here. I managed to swarm a couple of Soviet army groups here And then Moscow was tough, right? Because it's doubled. So I think I was wound up with like 30 defensive combat strength there. But I managed to get a 2-to-1 by just mobbing it. Rolled a 5, which is defend or retreat. Retreated overstack. The Stalin counter does not have a movement value. Couldn't retreat. Not one step back. He followed his own orders. And there we go, guys. So there's not a whole lot of difference. I did wind up taking Kursk down here with Army Group South, and I was coming up on Kharkov. I didn't roll that in the second impulse. As soon as Moscow fell, I kind of just called it. So there you go, guys. Again, the Russian campaign, this is 2nd edition, not 5th from GMT. This is the 1976 Avalon Hill. Outstanding game. I can tell why this is a classic, why there's still people playing it, why people play the bejesus out of it. Look for a post-game thing a little bit later on in the wardrobe. Bye, guys. Thanks for watching.